Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Another weekly recap. We're coming to the end of June. I gotta tell you, here in Montreal, awful weather. It doesn't make playing my golf games any easier. It's always uncertain. You gotta wait until the last minute, and sometimes we get to the club, it rains, get into the clubhouse and we have breakfast or just chat with the boys, but it's very cold, very cool and rainy. Really garbage weather. I know in Europe, I think they're getting heat waves. I don't know if that's coming to us soon. Typically here in Quebec, we cold weather, then the sun comes out, then we get these huge heat waves, then they go away, autumn sets in, and then winter. So our summers are short, and now they're getting even shorter if we're going to have to deal with this kind of rainy weather. But having said that, it makes fountain pen therapy all the more pleasurable, And so, without any further ado, we're going to present to you some more paper, some more inks. We've got a new penals. We've got some pens to revisit. We got weapons to decide for next week, and we got YouTube reviews and market reviews. So we got it all for you again, folks. So stay tuned. Fountain Pen Therapy presents its weekly recap for June the 21st, 2026. Okay, so we're back. First segment, market news. What have I got for you? Let me show you what I caught my eye. Not much out there. It's really quiet. Really quiet in my view. But having said that, let's take a look at what I've been able to find. So we'll cut to my computer. Okay, first of all, Apple Boom has some interesting pens. I just think that this is a sacrilege to call these pens from Leonardo Dolce Vita. I know there's a whole history behind this. If you look at these pens, when they use the word Dolce Vita, there's a copyright on it. You see it in the box there. You see that? They say R. So somehow Leonardo da Vinci or Leonardo Officina Italiana, Salvatore is an ex-owner of Delta, must have been able to copyright the Dolce Vita name, which in my view belongs to Delta. That's my feeling. So I will never buy this pen, just out of principle. But it is a nice pen. But doesn't look like a Dolce Vita. It's just called the Dolce Vita. But I feel obliged to mention it to you. But that's a very subjective point of view. It's my opinion, nothing else. What else do we got in, this is Apple Boom. Interesting Blue Castle from Waringo. I might order this ink. I just find it interesting in terms of that grayish shading that it has. Also notice there's a new Visconti Van Gogh. Not Van Gogh, yes, a Van Gogh. Very nice. The Prisoner. That's always nice pens. And look at this. They have the Year of the Horse Twisby. Interesting. With the horse there. So those of you who want to celebrate the Year of the Horse, well, you've got another Twisby Echo that echoes it. so to speak. Anything else in Apple Boom that I wanted to raise your attention to? Other than the ridiculous prices of Japanese pens and Italian pens, that's about it for Apple Boom. Next, Gold Spot. Interesting. Look at this pen. It doesn't even look like one of the, it does look like some of the pens that I'm going to be reviewing for you sometime very soon that I bought on Taobao, and I think they're also sold on AliExpress from Tagmoon. And take a look at this pen, $200. Remember some of you were complaining that the Panda Dwarf, that green pen, was too expensive? Well, you know what, folks? This Monteverde, which has never struck me as being high-quality pens, probably made in China too. I'm not sure of that, though. There you have it, Monteverde, for those of you who like Monteverde. Goulet pens, what have we got there that I saw that was worthy of mention? This Laban 3026, I got to get that Laban. You got this stabilized wood pens that I've shown to you last week. What did I want to point out here? Oh, take a look at this. Esterbrook has an SD. I think they call it the Crane with a wooden barrel. Isn't that interesting? There's also this Schaefer Legacy in the chevron color. For those of you who are interested in buying the new Legacy version, $260. The SD, take a look, this SD is $315. Same old nibs. I think overpriced. That's my view. That's why I'm staying away from them. That's that same Monteverde pen that I'm showing, but except in a white lacquer or white finish. Got these interesting, colorful Lamy All-Stars. So All-Star, I believe, means they're in aluminum. And very different colors. So they're going in a different direction, Lamy. I think they're providing all these very colorful versions of their pens. I think that's about it. There's this Mayora Capri that I've been looking at, but it's $300, so I'm not sure. And then there's the Casual 1911, which is the steel nib. I'm going to be reviewing sometime soon. So that's it for Goulet pens. What else have I got for you? Oh, there's an actual, Estilo Steel is having a sale, 20% off on, I guess it's Obonichi, so products. Any of you who are interested, take a look at that. They got some new menu pens, but it's not why I wanted to show you that. Casa della Stilografica has got the same Dolce Vita so-called pens on sale. This interesting Magna Carta Mag 600 with this Raiden kind of finish. Very nice. They got several other finishes as well for the Magna Carta Mag 600. Peyton Street. Now you see these pens here? The Saratoga. Just wanted to mention that Terry Morris has reached out from Peyton. She's going to be sending me about 3 pens, she said. She wants me to take a look at these Saratoga Lotus limited editions with that special nib. So she's going to send over to us a couple of pens, and we're going to review them and show them to you. And I've been meaning, and I think she noticed that I've been putting it in my cart, meaning to order one of these pens, and kind of just, out of not really my priority for the time being. And she must have noticed. So she said, Vincent, you've been good to Peyton Street. I'm going to send you some pens. I'm sure you'll love them. I know you like Lotus, she said. So she's going to send me a bunch of Lotus pens, which is great. Okay, let's get to the Chinese market. These pens. I mean, I've seen these alpha version pens. I didn't know they were made by Majohn, but and I didn't know they offered them in this aluminum. I know I have one like that in kind of a really heavy steel metal. But this pen appears to be offered in aluminum. It's got extra fine, which is not my, and they got something called Mei Gong tip. Don't know what that means. Let me see if there's any specification as to what that nib means. No, it doesn't appear to give me any indication of what that Majohn nib means. It's got a frosted covering, so even in aluminum, maybe it's less. Oh, I see. Maybe these are the nibs they're talking about. Don't know. Tip set. Is it a fude nib? Certainly don't want a fude nib. Not clear. Anyway, I thought I'd show you that because I'm not sure they offered it in aluminum before. Maybe they have, and I'm sure some of you will point that out to me. Anything else that I had? No, I thought I had something else from AliExpress. No, not really. I haven't seen anything, new on AliExpress at all. Let me just back here, just in case I missed something. No, that's it for AliExpress. So there you have it. What's new in the market? That's about it. In terms of Chinese, not much out there. I think you can find more stuff on Taobao. Check out Taobao. Get it going. I know some of the Americans viewers can't. For some reason, it doesn't work. But if you can, please check it out. Spend some time trying to get it translated. It's worth your while, I can assure you. So there you have market news. Stay tuned for the next segment. Be right back. Okay, so we're back with the next segment, which is new paper I got for you. And speaking of paper, I want to mention to you guys that I'm presently recording the video on the ultimate challenge to find the perfect alternative to the original TOMOE River paper, my favorite paper. It's getting there. It's going to be very long, so I've got to find a way to make it a little shorter and palatable for you. I know I've got timestamps, so you can always rely on the timestamps. If there's anything in there that doesn't interest you. But, I've got like 50 notebooks to review. I'm not sure I'm going to review each and one of them. So I'm going to try to categorize those notebooks to determine whether or not they are alternatives. Categorized based on very similar characteristics, and those that match best with the TOMOE River original paper. So stay tuned for that. I will let you guys know, or maybe not. Maybe it'll just you'll see it appear, and you can take a look at it. But just to let you know that we're going there, unless I get anything which is out of the ordinary between now and next week. I've got a feeling that video may very well be published sometime very, very soon. I've got one more paper to look at for you, and so let's get to that. I think I showed you this before, but having said that, let's just go to my overhead camera. I got this paper from Taobao. I've got it both in this A4 size and in a smaller size. It's a bunch of loose sheets which are touted to be original TOMOE River paper, and we shall see. I've put it in this beautiful kind of a nice, I bought this on Taobao as well. It's just kind of a tablet, if you will, with binder-like rings there. So we're going to do some swatching on this paper just to see how TOMOE River-ish it really is, and maybe compare it to one of my TOMOE River originals and see if it meets the specifications, as they say. So that's the paper. There's not much to speak of. It's just blank, a bunch of blank sheets. It does feel like original TOMOE River paper, I can tell you. It's very soft. It's not that Sanson-like feel. So I'm hopeful that we are dealing with the original, but we shall see. So we'll be right back and show you, actually, we can do that right away. We'll show you what inks we have for you. Okay, in terms of inks, this ink caught my eye. I believe I bought this one, Taobao again. I'm not sure they're available on AliExpress, but I will put in the description a reference just in case of where you can find it. It's an ink by the name of Shisan. Manganico Inc. is the corporation or the company behind it. Got to tell you, the packaging looks very familiar. When you open up the packaging, it's very familiar to, or very similar to to Iroshizuku inks. It's in fact probably the same box, I would say to you, or very similar. The bottle as well is similar, but not exactly. Let me just show you the difference. The beauty of the Iroshizuku bottles, these are beautiful bottles as well, is that you see your nib goes all the way there, so that when there's a low level, you can still get ink in your converter or in your in your pen. We don't have a similar mechanism here in this one, but it is kind of a similar. What's fun about this as well is that this is 50 milliliter and this is 50 milliliter as well, so plenty of ink at a reasonable price. And like I said, and they've got quite a few inks. Another thing I wanted to mention was that I did purchase 4. I had originally purchased these 3 or ordered, and there was another blue, a darker blue, as a 4th ink. It was declared delivered, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It was missing in the box. In the box, I had other inks as well that I purchased on Taobao, and so I tested to see for the 3rd time to see if Taobao would reimburse me, and not a problem, folks. I set in my reimbursement demand, explained why. I took a picture of these 3 and told them I'm missing the 4th one, which is the blue one as per my order, and my reimbursement was processed just a few days later. So just to let you know, those of you who wonder, so far so good. I also had a couple of other incidents with the Taobao where I didn't quite get what I wanted. In one instance, they sent me the wrong thing. They allowed me to keep what they sent me and reimburse me for what they had not. So shout out to them. They're doing it properly. So these are the 3 inks. What I'm going to do now is I've already taken them out of the box. Here they are. So these are the 3 bottles. My ink swatching, water, etc. is available. Let me just get my original TOMOE River paper. Okay, sorry about that. We're all set now. So what I've taken out is actually I've taken out my notebook. Realized that I was testing way back when on TOMOE River paper original. It was kind of a notepad as opposed to a notebook format that I purchased from Nanami paper. And that paper was 68 GSM and not 52, whereas this is 52. So we're going to stick to this one. So far, so good. You can see they're both that very similar ivory kind of beige paper. Of course, this is lined, this is plain. But so far, I'm happy to see that the feel and the look is just identical. So let's start with the first one, which is the red or garnet. Yeah, look how nice and smooth the ink goes on when you're dealing with TOMOE River paper. It just makes, folks, all the difference. Same thing here. No exception. Very, very similar. Because if it is the true stuff, I can tell you, folks, that I'm going to order much more. It goes without saying. Okay, so this is, let me just, Shisan, is it? Shisan, yeah. Shisan, and this is garnet. Yeah, kind of twisted there. Yeah, same thing. Shisan. Wow, folks. Yeah. You know, sometimes you order, and I don't mean to be pejorative, but, you know, sometimes on some of these Chinese sites, not because I'm accusing them of anything, but they're not always accurate, or the descriptions are kind of bad translations, and you get mixed up. You think you're ordering something when you're actually ordering something else. So, you know, I had my own doubts here, but so far so good, folks. Wow, beautiful. Just a beautiful blue here. That is really nice. It, gotta tell you, the kind of looks like Konpeki. Maybe we'll do a swatch with Konpeki right next to it. It's kind of giving me some ideas. Yeah, I think I'm going to just reserve some space in between maybe here so that we could, let me just clean my pen here. Okay, so this is, I gotta move this, otherwise I can't write. Shanson. And this one's called Aquamarine. Wow. That really feels like Tomoe River, folks. I got a real feel for it right now because I did that video and, you know, I wrote and I tested and experimented over 50 notebooks. So I think I've got a handle on how exactly a Tomoe River original paper feels like. Now, you know, it can vary from week to week. It's difficult to but just the feel with your hands, I think I got it. I really think I got it. And I got to tell you, this paper really, really feels like the original Tomoe River paper, which I'm very pleased. Now, will it, you know, will the inks perform the same way? We shall see. And will these inks perform, or in other words, will they give us something more than, let me just push that up a little bit. Will they give us a little bit more just than straight up or standard inks, or they're going to give us a little bit of shading? We shall see. Whoa, I forgot to write. So this is, let me just move that. Shinsan. It's actually Shinsan, not Shansan. So it's, yeah, and as a lot of you have pointed out, I have a really bad time with names and pronunciations and all the rest of it. My apologies. This is the color called Sujolite. Never heard that expression before, and some of you will no doubt explain what it is, which is always fun because you learn. Sujolite. Okay, that's fun, isn't it? What I'm going to do, give me a second, I'm going to try to take out some Iroshizuku inks that I think correspond, and we'll test it to these. I don't know if I have any purples that look like this, but let me be right back. Okay, while these ink dry, what I want to do is I want to compare Yamabudo to this garnet. I don't know if it comes close or if garnet comes close. So let me just swatch it right underneath here. No, Yamabudo is a lot darker than this garnet. There, I'm sure there's other inks. In fact, I can think of one. I may go back to it. Just give me a second here. The only one that I think comes close to the blue, I have two. I have Ama-iro and Konpeki. And I'm not sure which one best resembles the aquamarine here. We'll put both down and let the swatching. This is the Ama-iro. And let me show you the Konpeki. Isn't that interesting? Probably somewhere in between, but we got to let them dry first. The only one I have that kind of resembles this purple or this sujolite is Iroshizuko Murasaki Shikibu. And don't quote me on that. I can't pronounce these names. And I don't mean any disrespect, because I know I laugh at people who try to pronounce words in Italian, and it's not fair. It's not our language, right? So this is the Iroshizuku one. Yeah, you can see there's a little more of a purplish tint, but that's the closest one I can come to. Now let me just get another ink, and I'll be right back. This is fun, folks. I'm trying to see which one. I have this one, Momiji, just a small bottle version of the Iroshizuku. See if it matches the garnet. So let me just swatch that. Where do I put it? I'll put it right above. Maybe. Close anyway. And then I have this other one, which is the Kosumosu. This may actually be more in line with the garnet. Let me see where I can find space for it. Actually, we'll put it right underneath here. No, it's more, this one's more orangey. There's a little more orange in there. So this garnet is probably somewhere in between, but they have other colors. Now, so anyway, that was fun. Bunch of swatches there. What we're going to do is we're going to allow all this to kind of dry up, and then we're going to compare the performance of the paper and also take a look at the swatching and the ink itself to see what characteristics are pleasant. So far, I love this ink. I really do. And then, of course, we're going to take a bunch of pens and ink them with that new ink. I really like the bottle. I really like it so far. And I like the price. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. The inks are fairly dry. There's a little bit still of a wet spot on that Iroshizuku ink, the Kosumosu ink. That's correct. First of all, let's just compare this swatch, these two in the two papers, these two and these two are, in my estimation, equivalent. So the two papers appear to have exact same swatching results, which leads me to believe that they are very similar. In terms of the other side, you can see that, get some ghosting, which is normal. And, well, got these big swatches, which are very, very visible in TOMOE River paper. They always are. And that's very similar here. The feel, folks, is exactly the same. I've got a feeling that it's a jackpot. This is really, really nice. And just to show you when you go on the website, this is what you see in terms of the not the template, but the thumbnail. And somewhere in there, I think you see Tomogawa. That's the only thing I can recognize. 52, I guess, means 52 GSM. The rest is pretty much all in Chinese. I didn't bother translating it. It says TOMOE River loose sheets. I got it both in this size and in a 8.5 size, which, do I have them readily available? No, let me just see. It shouldn't be too far away. 1 second. My apologies, I can't find it. But in any event, so very similar. And in terms of the inks, I think that the garnet is very similar to the Iroshizuku Kosumosu. It's giving me basically the same results. The Iroshizuku's got a little more sheen. The same applies, I think, to It's certainly not this one. It's certainly not this one. And you can tell the Iroshizuku inks have got a little more sheen. This is the Ama Iro. This is the Konpeki. The Shansen one is kind of more similar to the Konpeki, I would say to you, just a shade darker, but we don't get to see, that sharp red sheen. I'm very surprised that Konpeki didn't come out that the swatch doesn't give me sheen. It usually does, but in this instance it didn't. But very similar, very sharp blue color, got to tell you. And the Suzhilite is very similar to, and I don't want to, very similar to the Murasaki Shikibu in terms of the violet purple. A little bit darker, I would say to you. You can see some of the darker sheen there and some of the shading. I think they're very nice inks. They're not going to give you any sheen, I think, but basically very nice 50 milliliter standard inks. We'll do some writing with them and see how they perform in real pens. So there you have it in terms of the results for the inks. Okay, next segment is pen haul. What have I got for you? Well, you saw this week's video on this little pen, which is the Majohn RS2. I didn't have too many kind words to say about this pen, starting with the fact that there's quite a bit of movement here, and that I found the resin a little too light for my taste. But I got to tell you that I've written with this pen all week, and that Moonman nib is fabulous. I find it a little small, but yet comfortable. So what we're going to do is do some more writing with this pen. I'll do some comparisons that I'd like to point out. Comparisons with the resin, with this blue resin, to see is it as chatoyant, as resistant as other Majohn similar resin, that they called, I guess, well, it's Blue Galaxy was the name given to it by PenBS. Well, we'll do some comparisons. So that was the Majohn RS2, a pocket pen. Not much coming out from the main players in the Chinese market. And speaking of Majohn, let me just put that aside. I have another Majohn pen that I received, another pocket pen, which for reasons that you'll see right away, I'm very disappointed in. Here it is. Now, this little thing is really, really small. Just to give you an idea, it's even smaller than the RS2, and we'll compare it to some other pens. But I think when you look at it, it's a fun pen. It is a metal pen. It's got some nice characteristics. I chose the red. It's a snap-on that you can screw in. And before we get to that, I got two lemon nibs. Actually, this is a lemon kind of with a nice tipping that's in there. And they've included a Moonman nib that I've never seen before. It's got a snake on it, which is nice. I don't know if it was in celebration of maybe another pen that had kind of a snake motif. But there you have it. Nice little nib. Really sharp. I got to tell you, that snake is really nice. So they included both. And of course, there's that's the lemon one. And the tipping is what I like about it. I haven't done any writing with it, so we will ink it up with some of that red ink if I can. Now, what I find disturbing is that I cannot line up the clip so I find myself writing with the clip, going down. Now, I'm a little bit OCD, and I just don't, it bothers me, okay? And I tried everything, and I know some of you are better at this. There's some, technical reason why I'm not doing this right. But I've tried everything, folks. I've tried putting it in line, putting it out of line, half a line, to try to get that clip to somehow, line line up with the nib, and I haven't been successful. There is a little bit of sparkling in that metal, or I guess it's kind of an acrylic finish to the metal. It's hard to see. The camera's not capturing it properly, but just little specks there. And it's not, unless it's a defect, I think it's little gold specks. The section is okay. It's metal. But, the pen is so small that even if it's slippery, you kind of have control over it. We'll do some writing. I'm sure that nib is going to be nice. But the fact that this doesn't line up is just... And, this pen, I paid this pen like $52. Folks, not worth $52, in my opinion. Look, the verdict's still out. We'll do some writing with it. I think it's a little too small for my taste. And I was expecting it to be a pocket pen, but a little bit longer and bigger than this. To my great surprise, I think it's too small. But you'll see, I'm going to pull out a bunch of pocket pens. It's going to be my revisit segment. And we'll kind of do some comparison. We'll do some writing on TOMOE River paper that we have with some of that. Oh, it doesn't have a converter. It doesn't even have a small converter. They sent me just a bunch of cartridges, quite a bit as a matter of fact. So I'm going to have to find a cartridge that's empty to put some red ink in there, or maybe find a smaller converter that fits. I'm wondering if the converter that's in my RS2 will fit in there. We shall see. I'll do that in the background and come back with some news for you. But so that's the second offering that I have this week, along with the different nib from Majohn. Next on my list is the following pen. Okay, I'm back. You'll remember, and it'll give me a chance to speak about two things. One, you see this spoke pencil, which I reviewed already in one of my previous recaps, which I find fascinating. I've had this for quite a while. And some of you have asked me what happened to all the, the reviews of pencils and mechanical pencils and roller balls. Well, guys, I think I've got them all. There's really nothing new out there. I've got like over 40, 50 mechanical pencils. So unless there's something, spectacular coming out, I don't have much to say there. Same thing with roller balls or pens that I'm attracted to. But one of the things I always mentioned that is I always wished that one of these metal mechanical pencils that are so sharp in my view. Take a look at that. Look at that nice blue and gold. I always said, too bad they don't make, fountain pens with the same type of design or profile or materials. And one of you wrote to me and said, Vincent, you should check out Spoke. They have a website and they've got pens, pencils, pens, and fountain pens. So I checked and I ordered a fountain pen from Spoke Design. It came in this little tube. Very nice tube, by the way. And when you open it up, it came in with wrapping. But, here's the pen, folks. Take a look at this. This is a fountain pen. There's the Spoke branding. Little threading there. Very, very nice. I got to tell you, I've reviewed this pen in detail, so I'm going to spare you with all the details. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. Well, I always do that. That's not what I'm supposed to do. The nib is here. You can hardly see it. In fact, I did there exactly what I did the first time, and I was wondering, then I tried to unsnap it because I couldn't really see it was so well done, but the nib is there. There it is. It's a number 6 size nib. I think it's a Yowo nib. There's the pen, and you can screw on the top here to give it a little more size. There's no clips, so you don't have to worry about it lining up or not. And I think there's enough material there to make it a roll stop. But we'll get into the details of it. There you have it. I think this is a really sharp fountain pen. But stay tuned. I'm not going to say anything more. I want you to watch my video, especially these days where there's nothing really new to write about. I figured I'd show you this additional one, so we'll put that there as bespoke, and we will do the review in sometime in the future, maybe even as early as this week. It all depends. We shall check it out. So those are my 3 pens for this week in terms of the pen haul. Of course, we'll apart from the spoke designed one, we're going to be doing writing with the rest, and this will lead us into the next segment. Be right back. My apologies, I forgot one other pen because you did already see this one. So I need to present to you a third one. This one's done. So the third one that I had forgot all about is this this pen. It came here. It's a Wingsung, but it's really Yongsheng, I think, which is just another version of Wingsung. It's maybe the Chinese version. Here's the pen. I found this pen. Whoop, sorry. Extremely attractive on the website, and I really like this wooden barrel, kind of redwood. I like the clip. I like this matte satin design. I like the design that's on this finial. Really nice, and this spins. So it's kind of a fidgety spinner here that you can fidget with. If you guys are into that, I know one of my sons just loves fidgeting with things like that, with these spinner type of products. That's a lot of fun. Needless to say, that is not a piston. It is there's no branding on it unless you see it somewhere in this Chinese characters. Very attractive, by the way. You can tell it goes from very satiny to more shiny, engravings. Really, really nice. Done really nice. It's got good weight to it. It appears to be mostly a metal pen. It is a snap-on. What I find regrettable is that it's just a number 5 size nib. Would have been nice if it had a number 6. And on the number 5, you see that it's Wingsung. It's the old Wingsung number 5 nibs with a plastic feed. The section is nicely engraved, so there is a little bit of texture there. There's a step up, and I'm not going to review this pen. It is back weighted, so it kind of that kind of makes it just sit there, because there must be some weight, a lot of weight in that design there. It is a cartridge converter, nothing special to report there. It does, lock in nicely. I like the wooden barrel, really nice. I'm not going to review this pen. It doesn't post, not meant to post at all, but we're going to do some writing with it, and we shall see how it performs. But if any one of you saw this pen and was curious, here you have it. Given that there's not much coming out of the AliExpress market, this I believe I bought on Taobao, and I don't believe I saw this in AliExpress, but I will put it down in the description if I do find it. There you have it. It wasn't expensive at all, by the way. Put the price right on the screen, just to give you a sense. So there you have it. So my apologies, I forgot all about this one. So we in fact have 4 pens to show you this week, and there you have it. We will be right back. Okay, we're back. Just want to do some writing with those pens that we just purchased. This one, and for the life of me, I can't find the name for it. If I do manage to find one, I will put it up on the screen. But this Wingsung pen with the spinner, I've inked it up with the garnet, the Shisan garnet, and we shall see how it writes. Okay, and I'm going to be writing on that TOMOE River paper that we just swatched. So this is the Wingsung. Yeah, really nice, folks. No name, I guess. Or if there is one, it's a mystery. I'm going to just put redwood. So we understand the nib is a wing-sung, what looks to be difficult to say whether or not it's a medium. There is no indication on the pen. I would say it's a medium. Not to be sure, FM. Wing-sung number 5. Steel. The ink is the Shisan garnet. Beautiful ink. Beautiful red ink. It's not as dark as the Yamabudo, which has become one of my go-to red tinted inks, if you will. I got to tell you, the nib is, in terms of smoothness, it's excellent. In terms of wetness, it's very wet. Okay. In terms of flow and consistency, it's excellent. So, not a problem. And in terms of bounce, NA, not applicable. There is none. It's a stiff nib, as most of these number 5 wing-sung nibs are. As far as the pen is concerned, comfortable. Metal. Good size. Is it a pen that you absolutely need to get? Not really. I think it's worth the value. Value, it's $10 plus shipping. So even if they charge me $5 for shipping, it got delivered in a kind of combined delivery. So they consolidated the whole thing. So it didn't cost me all that much in terms of shipping. But I mean, for $10, this pen is excellent. So that's the wing-sung. No name, red-barreled, with a fun spinner. Now, let's take a look at how this little gem, for some people, but not for me, writes. I'm not sure. First of all, I tried to fit the small converter that's in the RS3 doesn't fit in the RS2. So I had to use one of their cartridges. And again, it bothers me so much that I cannot line up. I don't know if the ink has managed to find its way down. Let's just see. Look at that. I have difficulty turning the pen because of it. So this is it's not quite there. Let me just prime it so that we get the flow going. Okay, so we're back. That's what I don't like about cartridges, It just, depending on the quality of cartridge and the pen, it may take some time before the ink gets to flow down there. I can't believe that it took so long, which is another reason why I would discourage anyone from spending $50 on this pen. If you can get it for $15, $20, yeah, but $50, it's not. Let me see if it writes now. Last I checked, it did. Not great, though. Majohn RS2. Awful. The ink is awful. The flow is awful. The nib is what's supposed to be a lemon. pun not intended, which looks like a number 5 hand polished medium nib. The flow is not consistent. Flow is not very good. And maybe it has something to do with the cartridge and the ink. The nib is wet if the flow is there. But as you can see, it's not consistent. So even if when I press it, you can see lots of ink comes down. But if I just write with it, then you see here, very light, as opposed to here. So depending on the stroke, folks, I don't like this pen. I'm not going to review it. First of all, it doesn't line up. It doesn't have a converter. It's just not worth the $50 they're charging for it. I'm not even going to bother buying a converter for it, unless you guys have some solutions. Look, I know me. I'm going to revisit this pen, no doubt, try to make it work. And if I do, maybe I'll replace it with the other nib that came with it. Maybe the Moonman nib gives me more success, more performance. I'll play around with it. If I come to any sort of resolution, I'll let you know in next week's recap. Okay, so that's the pens. Not going to do the spoke pen because I'm going to keep that for a review. Okay, a detailed review. We'll be right back with the next segment, and the next segment will be, I'd like to look at that RS2 and the resin on that pen and compare it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I want to compare this blue chatoyant resin on the RS2 that I, criticized a little bit. Compare it to the Majohn M. What is it? This is the 600. Where's the M800? I keep forgetting now. 1 second. I want to make sure I get it right. M800, not 600. And then I have a pen BBS, and this one is the 323 or 480. Let's look at pen BBS Blue Galaxy. Do you see the chatoyancy here? First of all, it's a little more, it's much thicker, just in terms of feel, than the Majohn. Majohn is a little less deep. I just don't feel that the chatoyancy or the quality of the resin is the same. Really don't. I think the pen BBS, let me maybe give you a bigger sampling here. The pen BBS is just a lot more, when the dark blue doesn't have the same depth. Yes, you get some chatoyancy on the side there, but once you turn it around, the blue, in fact, it's even transparent. I can see the converter underneath. I think the chatoyancy on the pen BS is much, much deeper. Let's compare it to the, what am I doing? No, wrong cap. Comparing it to the M800, the chatoyancy on this thing is just beautiful, and the thickness, just the feel. Just when I feel it, this thing, there's something wrong with it. It just keeps moving every time I pick it up. Just not the same, folks. It really isn't. Camera's not doing justice to the difference. I think there's more depth here than there is here. There's some kind of a shortcut on this one. And the thickness of it is I think, significant. Just because of just the weight of it, you can tell. One is much thinner than the other. I got to tell you, I just find the quality on the M800 probably even better than the pen BBS one. You see in the lighter, yes, in the darker, there's still some waves. it gives you just so much more depth than this Majohn that is, I think, fairly simple, in terms of chatoyancy and depth. Anyway, that's my thoughts. That's what explains why I was a little bit critical, but I think there is a difference. There you have it. We'll come back with the next segment. Okay, so we're back for the Pens Revisited. I figured, given that we reviewed this pen, a lot of you mentioned what you prefer and what you don't prefer. I think the first thing we have to look at is, in terms of, this is kind of a small sampling of my pocket pens. Some of my favorites here. Most are my favorites, I would say to you. Yeah, not bad at all. We've got some really expensive ones, like the Dolce Vita Original, and then this is the DV2, the Mini. We've got a Parker Duofold Mini. The rest are, we've got a Gravitas Ear, which is a little bit expensive. I've got a Monte Grappa right here, a mini pen. So these three, or these five, are amongst the most expensive ones in this collection. You got my Opus 88, which is not cheap. It's a little more expensive than the rest. The rest are essentially, I should talk about the Kaweco, which is a little more expensive than the rest. And my Lotus can be a little more expensive. The rest, I think, are all the Chinese. We would have to include, of course, this Majohn here. This is a Pen BBS. This is a Natami. This is the Jinao 82 Mini. These are my two M2s in brass and titanium. You've got my M2 in the aluminum finish, and you have the M1, the Yongdian. You have the Majohn, I forget if it's N5 or N2, which I despise. I'm not even going to bother with it. Got the two EDC pocket pens, one in Ultim and the other one in titanium. And, which ones are my favorite amongst all these? I've got to tell you, of course, my favorite is the Dolce Vita. It goes without saying, but it's fairly expensive, so I'm going to keep it. Same goes for my Parker Duofold. So we're going to leave those and my Monte Grappa out of the picture. But in terms of the rest, I can tell you right away, we can choose right away my favorite. Let's put them all back in their spots. This one I can tell you I don't like. I can't write with it. So we'll remove that from the picture. Okay. In terms of my favorite, which ones are they? Well, my favorites are these two M2s. I love the Gravitas as well. I really got to tell you, I like the EDC. It competes. The Kaweco's got to find its way in there as well. My Lotus is also a very nice pen. The Majohn, it's the nib that does it. So it's not a bad pen at the end of the day. So I don't like these two. So if we can, at the end of the day, it finds its way there. What else have I got for you here? This little guy from Love You or Lovin' You, I forget what exactly. He's got one of these small Schmidt nibs that are just right wonderfully. So I think I'm going to choose that one as well. If I got anything else that I want to show you, this kind of repeats, so we'll leave it there. I mean, the Jinao is okay. I replaced the nib. I put in a Caligu nib, so I did want to show you how that wrote. So we'll include the Jinao 82, but it's really for the nib, not for the pen itself. The Pen BBS is one of these. I don't like the design. I mean, the nib is not bad at all. The design is very cumbersome. So that's one of the reasons why I won't choose it. I haven't chosen it. Of course, all the gold nib ones I'm going to avoid. The Monte Grappa, the Dolce Vitas. The Opus 88 would have been one of my choices, but got to tell you, it snapped. Apparently it's a problem. The piston snapped on me. I had to re-glue it. And because of that, I can't recommend it. I don't know if everybody's had, but I understand it's been a problem. Several people have experienced the same problem. So those are my favorite. What I propose is I'm going to take all these favorites, ink them up, and we'll do some writing. Be right back. Okay, so we're back with Pens Revisited. We've chosen a bunch of pocket pens, amongst my favorite, I would say to you, pocket pens, and we shall show you what we've come up with. Okay, let's give the benefit of the doubt to this Majohn RS2. It'll give us an opportunity. Actually, before I write, I meant to do something. You'll notice that we did the swatches with the paper in normal mode, not in landscape mode. Okay, we did it this way. And we see lines here going vertically, which some of the viewers suggested that kind of shows where the grain of the paper is. Now, what I would like to do, because it might affect the writing, I'd like to swatch here, but now we're in landscape mode, just to see if my swatches produce a different line, to see if there is any grain in this paper. Okay, so let's start with the aquamarine. Next will be the garnet. So that's the garnet. And then we will do the stugilite. Sugilite, the purple. Let that dry up, and in the meantime we'll set up our pens for writing. It does look like the grains are going horizontally, so there may be a point there. Now the point is, because what I was thinking of doing was basically cutting this A4 into two and create A5 loose sheets. But will the writing be different if I write horizontally or vertically? I don't know. So let's do some writing and we'll take it from there. Okay, the first one is this Majohn. So this is the Majohn RS2 blue. The nib is a Majohn number 6 steel fine nib. Okay, let me just close up a little more. By the way, I put in, you see lines, I put a guide sheet underneath. So, whoa, what's going on here? It doesn't want to, here we go. Whoa, it doesn't want to focus. Come on now, you can focus. You're allowed, you're allowed. Okay, there you go. So that's the Majohn. The ink in here, it was an ink that we did last week. I forget what it is. It's one of the blue inks that we inked last year, but I just don't remember. Last week, I just don't remember which one it is. Okay, next. This is the, I was looking it up. I think they call it the Me Too. Or is it the Future Mini? I forget, but one of the two. Is it the extra fine or fine? Fine. So this is the Me Too. The L-I-Y. I think it's Live in You. Or is it Love in You? I forget now. I think it's Live in You. And I put in here the purple Sujolite Shisan. So let's see how this writes. So this is the L-I-Y. Me Too. Yeah, Me Too, according to my database. The nib is a Schmidt number 5 steel fine nib, really nice. The ink is the Shisan aquamarine, which is an ink that I absolutely love. Glad I bought it. Okay. Kind of resembles the Majohn, doesn't it? But I didn't ink it with that ink. Okay, this is the Jinhao '82 Mini, the orange Dolce Vita-like barrel. The nib, however, is a Kegeloo number 5 steel. Is it? Doesn't say, does it? I would say it's medium. Medium nib. The ink is the Shisan garnet. Okay. Beautiful red. Let me just push all this a little further up. There we go. Next is the Gravitas pocket pen. Forget exactly what they call it, but the Gravitas. Whoa, got some overfilled. I just inked it. It's got some baby's bottom there. Wow, that's not good. This ink, usually this nib performs pretty well, but give me some problems. Gravitas Ultim pocket pen. Now, this Kegeloo used to have orange in it. I did wash it out, but I guess I didn't wash it enough because I could tell the difference. This one's a little more orangey red, and this one's a real color of garnet, which is more like a pinkish. And the nib is a... I don't know what nibs Gravitas uses. I will say it's a Gravitas number 6 steel medium nib. Is it medium or broad? Does it say? Is the question. No, it doesn't appear to say. It may be a Bach nib that they use. The ink is the Shisan garnet. Okay, very nice. That brings us to looking at the swatches. Let's take a look at those swatches and talk about grain a little bit. You know what? It's not perfectly clear, but I definitely don't see grain going up and down. I see the grain more going this way. So there is grain in this paper, which leads me to question whether or not it's a good idea for me to cut this paper in half, because now I'm writing. Am I writing with the grain? Yes, I am. Am I affecting the writing? Good question, isn't it? so far I can tell you that the writing is fine. It does write like TOMOE River. It doesn't write like Sanson or anything or any imitation of TOMOE River. So let's remove this. But I'm glad to see that there is some logic to that grain theory of one of my viewers. He or she were, and more than one person mentioned it. Absolutely right when they mentioned that there is a question of grain that enters into the picture. Let me just put this down so my paper stays still and doesn't move around. 1 second. Let me just, here we go. Okay, let's do it. We keep going here. The next is the Kaweko. Now I'm hoping I didn't fill the Kaweko because it had ink. I'm not sure it writes. Let's see if it, yeah, I think we have to prime it. Oh, I see. I want to discard this because of that cartridge. It just doesn't write. It's a pity. It dries up on me. I got to get I think the converter in this pen I put in another pen, forget which. So I'm not going to use my Kaweko this week. It is one of my favorite, but I'm not going to waste time trying to prime that cartridge. I just don't like cartridges. I have no patience for them. So that's it. This is a Lotus Ion, I believe they call it. Let me just demonstrate how it works. It's in copper. So this, hopefully it'll write. Whoop, there, here we go. Lotus Ion. This is in the copper finish. Whoop, it's skipping on me for some reason. Does it have ink? Yes, it does. Let me just push that along a little bit so that priming it. I think this pen has my Kaweko. So copper. The nib is just a Yowo number 6 steel. This is a broad nib. And the ink is unknown. I have no idea what ink I have in here. It appears to be either a very dark brown or black ink. Okay, so there you have it. It could very well be one of the brown inks that I reviewed not too long ago, but can't remember which. Next is this EDC titanium pen that posts very nicely. There you have it. Kind of a matte finish as opposed to a shiny finish. So this is what they call it. They call it the EDC titanium pocket pen. It certainly looks like a Kaweko. The nib is a Schmidt number 5. Is that extra fine or fine? Fine nib. The ink is the Shisan Aquamarine. Ah, just beautiful. Aquamarine. Interesting. Next are my two winners. These to me are my favorite, so far, my favorite pocket pens. First one is the Ongdian M2 in this brass finish. You know what? I'm going to, just for the fun of it, and I'm going to put something over so I don't mess up. Do I have anything that I could put right here like this? Just want to feel the difference. So this is the Hongdian M2 in brass. The nib is a Hongdian number 5 steel. It has such nice tipping. I don't know if my camera will not going to cooperate again, is it? Yeah, it never does. Okay, come on. Let's go. Come on, you could do it. You could do it. It doesn't want to cooperate. But it's got a nice little knob at the end there, which the camera doesn't pick up, but trust me, it does. And the ink is the Shisan Sujolite. We're going to do as well just a beautiful, beautiful pen. One of the best pens in my collection. And it's probably, I'm not a great fan of pocket pens, but these pocket pens turn into actual full-blown pens. It's just beautiful. So let's do this one as well. Hongdian M2 titanium. I think, folks, you have to get these pens. Forget about that Majohn RS2. If you don't want to have these M2s, and don't go for the aluminum. Spend a little money more. Trust me, go with the titanium or the brass. Nib, again, it's the Hongdian. Number 5 steel. The ink, look at these inks. Shisan Aquamarine. Really like these inks, folks, and I like this paper and I like this pen. Now, what I want to do is go back the other side, and I just want to compare the feel. Interesting. I can feel the grain that I don't feel there. Yeah, I feel a little more feedback. And I would say to you that, no, not really. I don't think that this is thinner or thicker than this. I can feel the grain going down. And here, it's smoother. So the grain is here. Whereas in this one, it's smoother. So it does make sense to write with this paper the way I think it's meant to be written on, which is, portrait mode as opposed to landscape. Interesting, isn't it? Just for the sake of being complete, I want to see if the same thing feels. I have the same feeling with my brass. And also because I just love writing with these pens. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you're writing with with the grain going this way or that way, your strokes are going every way, shape, and form. So at the end of the day, you probably get an equivalent writing experience. But the fact of the matter is that, what is a sujolite? If the tendency is for you to go a certain direction, so I'm moving my writing horizontally, then you would want the paper to work with you horizontally, right? So if that's the case, you're probably better off writing with the portrait in the portrait mode than you are in the landscape mode. And the idea of cutting the paper in half and using it, maybe selling the paper short somewhat, but that's very interesting. I think it's very interesting. So that's it, folks. Those are my pens, or my revisit of pocket pens. Hope you appreciated that. And you know what? Got more writing to do, more pens to look at, so stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, for weapons for next week, what have I got for you? Well, as I think I had alluded to it last week, we took a look, I believe it was last week that we took a look at medium nibs, non-Chinese, and chose a bunch of them, and then they constituted my weapons for this last week, which, by the way, was fabulous. I had some beautiful pens there. Now what I thought I'd do is I'd take the medium nibs from my Chinese pen collection in kind of a variety and show you what I've got. And then we'll choose, top 10 sort of thing and see where we go from there. So let me go to my overhead camera. Okay, I'm back. I've made my choices, but I did want to explain to you why. Number 5, the number 5 Dieman nib on this thing, I'm skipping just because you've seen it already on the pocket pens. Okay, so I'm going to remove this Dieman. I'm going to keep the other Diemans, all 3 of them. I like them. In terms of the Jinao number 8s, I find that even though one might have a sword, a heartbeat, and a regular, I think they're pretty equivalent. So I'm going to take away 2 of them, and I'm going to keep this kind of lacquered one. It's one of my favorite, so we're going to keep that one. I do like the Jinao, as stiff as it is. It's a good nib, and I like the quality for the price. So I'm going to keep the Jinao number 6 medium nib. In the Asvines, I'm disappointed with the medium nib on the big 930, but I'm still wanted just because of the pen. So we're going to keep it. We're going to keep the medium. Now, between the old medium and the new medium, I got to tell you, I prefer the old, but I'm going to keep all 3. The gold is too fine for me. I find it writes too fine, but we're gonna show it to you anyway. The Admoc, I'm gonna put it aside. There's really nothing special about the Admoc medium nib, although I love this pen, so it's not gonna make the cut. K-glue is definitely gonna make it. It's one of the best medium. In fact, you'll question whether in fact it is medium because it writes like a broad, but I'm keeping it. In the Pen BBS, I have a choice between the regular nib and the calligraphy nib, and I'm going to go only with one. I'm going to choose the calligraphy nib. It's so much better and thicker and wetter, so we're going to choose that one. I'm still undecided about the normal medium nib on Pen BBS, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to take the lemon hand polish. It's one of my favorite. So that's going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoa! I think we're going to have to compromise on some of the Yongdians here. This is the Yongdian Year the Rabbit. I'm going to compromise on this one. I'll explain to you why. It writes beautifully, but I think it's a broad, not a medium. What about this one? This is the older style medium. I prefer the younger one, the the more recent one, so we're going to keep that one. And I also love the titanium on that pen. So we remove that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, in the Asvines, I don't think there's anything, not my favorite, the Asvine number 6 size nib. So we're going to put that aside, but I'm definitely going to keep the medium number 8 nib. And in between the old and the new, I'm going to keep the old number 8 size Majohn nib. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what? I may end up removing that. So I'm going to bring back the Asvine just because it's probably better than the rest. So I'm going to keep the Asvine, and I'll make up my mind between these Asvines as we go along. So there you have it. Okay, so that's my choice. But in order to make just a final choice, I think we got to do some writing. Okay? What do you think? So let's do some writing. Okay, we're back. I did put just a line guide, a guide sheet underneath to make things a little simpler for me, because I have a tendency to go all over the place even when there's a line. So, and then we'll switch it over to the other side. This is that A4 size TOMOE River paper that we tested. And why don't we start with the Dieman. This is the Dieman T1, or the titanium. I find this pen is just an absolutely gorgeous pen. These days I've kind of fallen in love with titanium. It seems like whatever titanium pen exists in my collection, I can't go wrong with it. Just love it. So this is the Dieman TI, and the nib is the new generation. Standard medium nib. Of course, they're all medium, so beautiful, just a beautiful nib. There is a little bit of a tipping there, Naginata type tipping, just slight. It makes it just so much more interesting. So that's the Dieman. Beautiful pen. I forget the ink. I did not re-ink this pen. I forget the ink that's in there. It's a darker blue. It may be Sailor dark blue, but I'm not sure. This is a pen that I really love because of the lacquer. It's basically a Jinhao 9019. So this is the Jinhao 9019 red lacquer. The nib is the Jinhao it's the heartbeat on this one, I think. Yeah, heartbeat. Number 8 nib. The ink in this one is, I'm almost sure, Iro Shizuku Yamabudo. Just a beautiful ink. Just a beautiful ink. So there you go. That's my Jinhao. What have we got? Yeah, my Jinhao. This is a Jinhao. I love this pen, by the way. I just like the resin on this. It's a recent purchase. A Jinhao, just a standard Jinhao. I don't know if it's fine or medium. To me, it writes like a medium, so I'm going to treat it as a medium. So this is the Jinhao. I guess Century 100, if you will. The nib is just a standard Jinhao number 6 steel. nib. The ink, by the way, is that new ink, the Shisan, aquamarine. Folks, this is real Tomoe River paper. No doubt. If I'm wrong, boy, have I been fooled. Okay, Wing Sung. Let's take a look at this Wing Sung 930. I just don't like the flow on this big pen. I like it when it's broad, but maybe I'm wrong. That's my recollection anyway. So this is the... Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Wing Sung 930. The nib is the Wing Sung or Sung number 9 steel. It's medium. They're all medium. Whoops, sorry about that. God, just once I don't want to mess up my sheet. The ink is probably Iro Shizuku, and I forget the name of that black ink. The name escapes me. But there you have it. Actually, it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, next. So, we've got a decision to make. This is the old 630, the flat top. So, Wing Sung 630 flat top. I'm going to also add flat top demo because it does have that demo barrel. The nib is the old number 8 steel nib. Right, so smooth. We'll compare it to the new in a second. Whoop, my line is getting off here. The ink, this red ink, I have no idea. Certainly not Yamabudo. It's been inked for a while. This thing's been inked since I went to my golf trip during the winter in Portugal. So, and it writes beautifully. I just took it out and right off the bat, not a problem. Okay, so why don't we shift my guide there on the other side. Just attach this so that it doesn't slip around. Okay. This is the new Wing Sung 630. Beautiful number 8 nib. But my recollection is it doesn't write as nice, and I may be wrong. Let's just see. Wing Sung, I'm wrong. Wing Sung. Sometimes, you have these preconceived, right? 630. The nib. No, this is beautiful. The nib is the new Wing Sung number 8 steel nib. Must specify because they do have gold nibs. So the ink, I can tell, is Yamabudo. I don't think I have a pen that has Yamabudo in it that doesn't write well. Maybe it's more about the ink than it is the pen. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This is the 629 Wing Sung. My recollection is that it did have a medium or fine. Yeah, it has a gold medium nib, but it writes like a fine. But I could be wrong. Yeah, you can see it's much finer. This is the Wing Sung 629. The nib, yeah, don't like the way it writes. Maybe the ink's running out. This is a 14K, number 6, medium nib. that writes more like a fine. The ink is unknown. I have no idea what ink is in here. So that's the 629. I think I'm going to remove it from the picture. I don't... Actually, you know what? I need a fine nib just for the office. I'll keep this one. Just sometimes I need a fine nib. And if I have all these juicy wet ones, sometimes I need one that writes a little drier, so that will do the trick. Kegeloo. This is a Kegeloo standard. I forget the number. Maybe it's the 316, or I forget what the... actually, don't want to mislead you. I believe it's the 317. So this is, no, take a look how thick this is. Or maybe they call it 317A, just because it's not steel barrel, but more of a resin. And it's the blue swirl. Because I have various versions of this. The nib is just a number 6 steel Kegeloo medium nib that writes like a broad, wet and juicy, and the ink, guys, take a look at this. Isn't it nice? It's the Shisan Aquamarine. Sure writes like Hiroshizuku, folks. And you can tell the difference between the aquamarine on this Jinao nib and the aqua, just because it's thicker. It comes out, you get some nice shading. So very, very nice. Boy, this pen is good. It's got to be my favorite number 6 medium Chinese nib, Kegeloo. Next. Okay, this is the Pen BBS calligraphy nib. I forget the number. I think they have numbers, or they have, it's kind of, they have like a dragon or a bee on it. I forget now. So this is the, Pen BBS. This is the 500 or the 500, yeah. The nib is a Pen BBS calligraphy. And you can tell that I have some difficulty writing with this nib. Excuse me, I'm back. My phone rang. With regard to this nib, I wanted to mention that it is quite, there's quite a bit of, it's an architect sort of and now it doesn't want to focus properly, but all to say that, let me just see if I could, yeah, it's having a hard time focusing, but the nib is quite architect type, Naginata or Naginata, Japanese sort of a really a nice, it's got a big stub there. So, okay, so that's this calligraphy. The ink in this thing, I'm afraid I don't know. Unknown. Writes nice, but I can see some sheening there, so I would suspect that it's a dark blue ink that has sheen. Again, I suspect it may be Sailor. Okay, so that's... Next, what do I have for you? Well, I have this, it's a Majohn P1, what is it, 37, this one, or 135, keep forgetting. But I'm really showing it to you because of the nib. The nib is beautiful on this. It's a lemon nib. Okay, I think I got it now. There you go. It's got that nice little pointed nib. Very nice. So this one is the Majohn P137, I believe. I'll just put snake so we'll know what we're talking about, in case I got the number wrong. The nib is a lemon, hand polished, medium. Just luscious. Ink. Looks like it's Konpeki, but I can't be certain. There you have. Oh, we've gone through quite a bit there. Very nice. Okay, let's remove this page. Whoop. Okay. And we will put this on this side. We will grab hold of it. Okay, what else have I got for you? So that's the lemon nib. Now let's look at Asvine. This is the Asvine C80. Ah. This is in the green. The nib is a steel Asvine number 8. Medium nib, of course. The ink, I think, is Mont Blanc Irish green. It's got a fine line. It's not as medium, it's not as thick as some of the other pens we've just seen. Okay, so it does offer a beautiful wet, finer medium, I would say. So that's the Asvine. Do I have another Asvine? Yes, I do. I've chosen this one to represent the number 6 steel nib. This is the Asvine P50 piston filler. Asvine P50. The nib is a steel Asvine number 6 medium. In fact, this number 6 medium appears to be thicker and wetter than my number 8. The ink in this one, let me tell you what it is. It's a mixture. Mix old with this new ink, which is the Shisan Aquamarine. I didn't wash it out. There was no more ink, and I just... That's another thing, if you use a cheaper ink like this one, you're not going to be worried about contaminating the ink should you dip a converter that's not been cleaned out, or a piston filler. It doesn't, put it this way, it doesn't cost you $50 like the Hiroshizuku. So, you feel less guilty if you do that. I know I'm guilty of doing that. I don't recommend that anybody does it, but I know that I do. Now, last but not least is my Majohn, and this is the old number 8 nib. P140 in the demo model. The nib is a Majohn old number 8 steel medium nib. I mean, you could argue that the new one, which is in this P141, which is a little bit crisper when you look at the engraving, is probably equivalent. Just for the fun of it, let's just see. The ink here I can't identify, so we don't have to bother. I just want to show the viewers here. This is the new one. P141, and it's in my red model because I have quite a few of these. The nib is the Majohn new number 8 steel medium nib. I think it gives you a similar line. The verdict's still out to see whether or not this is flexier or bouncier than the old one. Some people say yes, some people say no. It varies from pen to pen, I would say to you. There's not really, I notice over time. For example, I just wrote with these two and I felt that the new one was a little bit bouncier than the old. So it's difficult to say. In any event, there goes, that's my weapons for next week. So we can put that aside. And just bring back the tray with all of those pens. Going to have some fun this week as well. In fact, I got to tell you, probably going to have more fun with these Chinese medium nibs than I did with the non-Chinese medium nibs of last week. Cost me a lot less, that's for sure. In any event, that's it for weapons for next week. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, so we're back with the last segment, YouTube reviews. I've got 2 videos to suggest to you for different reasons. Hemingway Jones does a review of his Wall Eversharp pen. I don't own one of those or a pen from that brand, and it's been on kind of on my list. And he does a great job reviewing the pen. Of course, as usual, he goes through the history and does a really well-made video. But more importantly, I think is his he kind of, I think, convinced me to get the pen. It's a really reasonably priced pen, a steel nibbed, and it's a brand that I don't have, so I may very well take the dive there. I'll let you guys know. But if you're interested in, have been wondering about that brand, well, Hemingway Jones reviews one of the pens, any event. The next video is just a little bit special for me, is Inquiring Minds. Douglas Rathburn went to the Dutch Pen Show, and he was invited by Nino Marino of Delta to visit the Delta factory. A little bit of what happened to me a couple of years ago, where we met Nino Marino, my wife and I. He went through the same experience. Unfortunately, he got some food poisoning, and it kind of spoiled things for him. But what I want you to look at, I really would like you to take a look at that video, because he goes through, explains the man, i.e. Nino Marino, and what he's all about and what the brand is all about. And I think it's important. It's important for me in any event, because as you know, Delta is my favorite fountain pen brand for very sentimental reasons. I'm Neapolitan like Nino. I was born there, and that make or that mark or that brand for me has some very personal meaning, very subjective, and it's special. But I think Inquiring Minds goes through his experience, and I'm glad that he can corroborate my feelings. I sent him a message. He hasn't responded, but I would love nothing more to meet him and Nino Marino all at the same time, be in the same room and discuss pens and discuss, our pen community. It would be fantastic. But I don't expect a response, but we shall see. Maybe he'll surprise me. The shout out is there. In any event, I take a look at that video. I think you'll be able to appreciate why I feel so strongly about the man and the brand. As far as my own videos are concerned, well, like I mentioned, I'm working on my ultimate alternative to TOMOE River paper video. It's a work in progress. It's a lot of work. I'm trying to make it as palatable as possible. On the one hand, I would love to give you the most information possible about all those notebooks that we saw and my conclusions. But I got to tell you, I confess, I did record it, and it was 2.5 hours long. And I think that's I think it's maybe an hour too long. And I realized that I cannot, review every single notebook and talk about every single notebook when I have 50, and then go through my finalists, and then go through my top 3, and then go through my favorite, and do writing samples and all the rest of it. It's just impossible. I think nobody's going to be able to digest that video properly. But having said that, I haven't quite decided, because I do have timestamps. So if I timestamp the whole thing, then you can skip. If there's a particular notebook you want to look at, you can always click in. And if you don't, just skip it and go where you want. Let me know. Do you think it's a good idea that I do that comprehensive review? Or should I just... the alternative would be to take my 50 notebooks that I've reviewed, kind of categorize them into profiles that either meet or don't meet the specifications for an ultimate alternative. And so, I'd be able to lump, notebooks in different categories. I'll give you an example. There are, a category of notebooks that are, notebooks that have that coated paper, a little bit like Clairefontaine, or some of the Japanese life notebooks, Then you have other notebooks that have kind of very grainy, very, very textured, etc. So those are the type of categories that I could, look at, and therefore you'll have, I'll be able to lump 6-7 notebooks in every category rather than going through each one. But let me know, what do you think? What would you prefer? Write down in the comments, and I'll try to govern myself accordingly, if you will. So that's in the works. And then I've got a bunch of videos. You'll see on the screen a bunch of videos that I've done and that I have in the background, and we'll see which one gets published when. If I don't complete the video on the Tomoe River paper and publish it this week, I may very well go with that spoke pen. I think that's a fun pen to look at. So we shall see. In any event, if you reach this far, a lot of work to do these recaps. I would greatly appreciate if you can subscribe. It would do me the honor. Subscription is free, of course. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it will allow me or the system to forward to you, alerts when a new video is published. Please subscribe, and if you do, thank you in advance. Folks, that's the end. Have a great week. Enjoy your pens, your paper, and your inks. It's fountain pen therapy for all of us. Ciao.